Man, outstanding. Nice rainy day today in Southern California.
How would you describe cramming what would normally be a full week's worth into 4 to 5 days?
You kind of get used to it. You go through your process and you kind of do your process, and everything kind of gets sped up a little bit. Um, your coaches all got to be on their stuff a little bit more, so they got to jump ahead some. So by the time you get to it and you're able to talk about it, you got people with more information than you normally would have. You go through that process, and then you catch up with your coaches. You get your players caught up. You get those guys nice and easy within the framework of what you're trying to do and what the base process is. And then a lot of the stuff, you got to go from your retention of learning that you've had over the last course of the season and throughout training camp and through all the other stuff that you would normally do, and get to some of your stuff that the guys know.
Sean mentioned a couple times, first post game and then Monday, I guess yesterday, that continuing to coach to prevent some of the explosive pass plays and continuing to communicate on those between coach and players is going to be something that's important moving forward. What's your reaction or takeaway to that?
Well, sometimes it's communication. Sometimes you just get beat, and the communication ones are the ones that you can correct as a coaching staff. And when you get beat physically, you just got to win those battles as much as you can and fight as hard as you can. So you got to stay on that regardless. That's just like every week, no matter what the case may be, especially as the stakes get higher. You like to eliminate those things to keep guys from being able to fight their way back into games or to be able to jump into leads. So you got to fight your way through those things consistently and constantly throughout the process when you're talking about preventing big plays. Just got to let your technique and your opportunity and your trust and everything that's happening, the communication being on point and being great. And when you get beat physically, those are the ones we can deal with. And those are the ones when gun fighters get shot that I usually say up here for the most part all the time. But those are the ones you can deal with.
You made a couple of changes opposite Akello through the course of the season at that other aspect.
Sure.
But do you foresee more changes coming? Or?
It is a forever who's practicing the best, it's who's playing the best. Those things will always happen. I do like the production that we've got from that opposite corner. We just got to eliminate some of the big plays or some of the mistakes, some of the miscues that you have, which you can expect from young players. But at this point in the season, you like those guys to mature and get better and better and keep growing. I do like some of the bounce back from the guys, though, as we had some of the mistakes, particularly DKs when he had some misfortune, or the Kobe for that matter, whoever it's been. Those guys keep fighting, keep battling, and we just got to keep finding ways to win.
What were the challenges for you when you didn't have Akello available?
I'm sorry, say that again?
What were the challenges for you when Akello wasn't available?
It's not really challenges. It's just how we kind of move through our personnels. We move different people into the boundary. You move people to the field. You kind of move those guys out of position. You have to let those guys go out there and play. And you got to give Jacoby Brissett some credit, too. Like, he made some plays, stepped up in the pocket a couple of times, avoided the rush, made a couple of really good throws. We jammed the receiver really good one time. I think it was McLaurin. Jammed him really good, and then he just got all spun out of business, and he throws a pass up and catches it. I was really proud of the tackle at the one to go down there and get those guys into that goal line situation for us to keep that thing fighting and battling like we did in order to get that time to tick away. Would like to keep him out the end zone there in that last fourth down, but we didn't. But obviously, we did enough to win that game, but you want to be in those situations where you can win those games and be able to eliminate people faster than we did.
Raheem, the Panthers are looking for a head coach. The Chargers are now going to be looking for one, and other teams will be at the end of the season. Are you anticipating being involved again in that interview process? And how do you approach that kind of the postseason coaching carousel?
Gary, you really don't. That's not what I'm in the business of doing. I know that's fun for all the media people, but at the same time, it's a privilege to be a head coach in the National Football League. And then when you get those opportunities to sit down and talk with any of the 32 owners at any time is always something that you can be proud of, or the moment that you had a chance to lead an organization. But to be honest, I really don't think about it. You can't say that you don't hear it, because everybody and all my friends that talk to me about you want to talk about it and those things, and it's popular to talk about, and it's definitely an honor, but it's definitely I'm very grateful that you guys think so highly of me, particularly you, Gary, with that nice article you wrote that I couldn't read because I had to pay $1 for it, but I didn't pay that $1 either. I was like, no chance. I'm paying to read Gary Klein's article. I'll just ask him what he said. It's just that time of year. It's just what happens. For me, it's kind of always bittersweet. You know, you hate to see guys get fired. You hate to see guys get moved on from. You hate to see those openings, but they are opportunities for other people. And when those opportunities present themselves, I just got to be ready to present myself in the best version. But to say you're preparing or you're doing anything that you would do differently other than trying to win the next football game, that I'd be lying to you.
Do you think, given what's, I mean, you were head coach at Tampa, interim at Atlanta.
Sure.
Do you feel like, I know this is a rhetorical question, but do you feel like you're ready for that next opportunity?
You know, Gary, I feel like I've grown. I've gotten better being here, you know, and with everybody, with being around Sean McVay, being around Les, being around this building, being within this organization and how we do things. I really love it. I love how we've handled adversity. I love being able to be around the local media and what you guys do. I think all of those things are part of getting ready in order to prepare yourself to be a head coach. So I'd be not telling you the truth, but I didn't think I was going to be better than I was the first time when I was 32 years old, taking over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or the interim coach mid-season in Atlanta. But I look forward to those challenges, and when those things present themselves, I'll be ready. But as right now, you know, really worried about the Saints.
You also seem like you'd be a candidate because of how well this defense has played compared to how a lot of people outside this building thought it would play, given all the guys you lost in the offseason. What has this year been like for you as a coach in terms of achieving and getting these guys to do stuff that not many people thought they could do, and they're clearly doing on a week-to-week basis?
I don't want to give myself too much credit for getting these guys to do things, right? We underestimated their ability to play as well as they've played, right? And we can play better. You know, we talk about that every week, you know, like just certain things you can do better. But I really think you never in football, you know, it's just unpredictable. It's just the nature of the beast when you're talking about the National Football League and how great this game is why we're all fans, is why we all cheer for it every single week. But it has certainly been gratifying. It has certainly been fun to be relevant. You know, you want to get into these moments in December when you are in the mix, so to speak, and you're ready to do those things. Does it change anything, how you go about your business, how you go about your approach? No. But I certainly think it gives people credit. It gives people credit at the players. It gives some of my other coaches credit, whether it be Eric Henderson, whether it be Shula, whether it be Aubrey Pleasant, anybody on our staff as well with me. And sometimes you get too much credit, and sometimes you get too much blame. So it's nature of the beast of what we do.
Being an opportunity, having an opportunity, like you said, about being just mentioned about a coaching candidacy or what have you, as far as just being in that realm. But how much does it strengthen the opportunity for other black coordinators and coaches to get these opportunities with someone like yourself and others who are moved into that particular position?
I think it's pretty cool, you know, to put it in a nice way, what you didn't want to say to me, of being the older guy right now, being in those positions, because you got younger coaches, you know, look up to you and how you move about your daily business and go about your work. And not just coaches, you know, just people around the building and how we move as in society, being an African-American or being a minority or whatever you want to call it at that point, and just moving forward and being able to climb those ladders. I think that's really an important thing for me, to hold the right standard, and important for me to answer these questions the right way, so people don't feel entitled to think that they deserve it no matter what. I think you have to earn them. I think you have to go out and earn them. I think you got to respect them when you get those opportunities. And I'm trying to do my best to put my best foot forward every single day, no matter what the situations are, whether we're talking about playing football or we're talking about presenting ourselves and answering these questions the right way, to not feel entitled or like you deserve something you shouldn't have gotten, or whatever the case may be. I just want to make sure I'm doing it the right way for you guys.
What stood out to you about the way that Aaron Donald was taking those young guys in the defensive line room under his wing this year?
What stood out from Aaron Donald? I think his ability to have fun with his guys on the grass on a down in and down out basis has been really alive. You know, when you go down to the end of the bench, I've seen a couple different versions of Aaron. I've seen the angry one who's just about to go tear up the game, and I've seen the happy one coaching. And I think I got a really good mix and a really good vibe of Aaron Donald this season and just throughout training camp with his young guys. I think he really enjoys playing with them, and not just his young guys, but, you know, whatever you consider Bobby Brown and all of those guys, the conductor, all those guys. I think Jonah, I think he's got a really good feel and really enjoying playing with those guys. I've seen him have before with Gaines. I've seen him have it with Ashawn, and I'm just seeing him. I got a chance to watch him form it with these guys this year. That's probably the biggest difference for me.
I wondered if you could go back to this training camp, this last preseason. Was there an example of something where you had to rethink how you reteach something a drill, a technique, not just to new coaches, but also to young players on this roster?
I don't think it started in training camp, Jordan. I got to go back further than that. It started the day we formulated this new staff and we sat down and we watched our prior year cut-ups and how we were going to move forward. What was the easiest teaching progression, the best teaching progression, the best way for guys to pick it up and learn it, to be able to play fast. And we all treated ourselves like we were day one players in that room. And I think it was really cool, humbling. It was a great experience doing it with all the coaches, talking about Aubrey Pleasant, Mike Harris, A.C. Carter, Eric Henderson, Chris Shula, Chris Beek. If I missed anybody, I apologize. But going in that room with those guys and doing that with those guys and how we wanted to formulate and present the information and give our guys information to go out there and to be able to do some of the things that we're doing now, I think was when it started. And I think it started with everything. We went right from ground zero. We rebuilt what we wanted to do. And we came out with some really cool ideas, and we get a chance to show them. All right, guys. Have a good one.